A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Juz 21, Surah Ankabut, verse 45. Recite from this book which has been revealed to you and establish Salah. Surely Salah keeps one away from shameful and evil deeds, and surely remembrance of Allah is the greatest indeed. Allah knows what you do. Now, two tools which are very beneficial for success in this world and the hereafter both are the recitation of this book, and this includes its comprehension and implementation too, and then establishment of the Salah. This includes that special attention should be given towards its improvement by observing the proper etiquette and knowing its meaning. And one finds that both these things change a person's heart more and more towards Allah, more and more towards righteousness. No matter how deep one is sunk into straying and error, these two ropes are enough to pull him out of it. Verse 46. Do not argue with the people of the book except in good taste, except with those who are wicked among them, and say, we believe in that which is sent down to us and that which is sent down to you. Our God and your God is the same, one God to whom we submit as Muslims. In this verse, we are taught that while doing dawah with the people of the book, one should do it in a beautiful, gentle, polite way, full of wisdom that may touch their hearts. Then we are given an exception to this rule, and that is that with those who adopt an attitude of wickedness, a different attitude may also be adopted according to the nature and extent of their wickedness. In other words, one cannot and should not adopt a soft and gentle attitude towards all sorts of people under all circumstances at all times, which might be mistaken for the weakness and meekness of the inviter to the truth. Islam does not teach its followers to be unduly humble in such a way that people start taking them for granted. And especially the people who are cruel and wicked in nature, they start taking advantage of such people. But otherwise, when they have to deal with common people, then they should adopt the other method, that is being gentle and soft. Verse 47, O Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we have sent down this book to you, so the people of the book believe in it, and so do some of these, and none but the unbelievers deny our revelations. Now, the gist of the matter is that the truth-loving people, whether they already possess a divine book or do not possess it, they are affirming their faith in the Quran everywhere. 48, O Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you have never read a book before this, nor have you ever transcribed one with your right hand. In that case, the quibblers could suspect it. Now, the fact that Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was unlettered confirms that what he is presenting is not anything other than divine revelation. 49, rather, these are clear signs in the breast of those who are endowed with knowledge, and none deny our signs except the wrongdoers. 50, they ask, why have the signs not been sent down to him from his Rabb? Tell them the signs are in the hands of Allah. I am only a plain warner. 51, is it not enough for them that we have sent down to you this book which is recited to them? Surely in it is a blessing and a reminder for those who believe. Now the non-believers ask for a miracle, but seeing which one may be convinced to the prophethood of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Allah asks them that a book like the Quran being sent down to an unlettered person, is this fact not in itself a miracle which should convince you? Do they yet need another miracle? Verse 52, tell them, Allah is sufficient as a witness between me and you, for he knows all that is in the heavens and the earth. Those who believe in falsehood and disbelieve Allah, it is they who are the losers. 53, they challenge you to hasten the scourge on them. Had a time not been fixed for it, the scourge would have already come to them. It is going to come suddenly and catch them unaware. 54. They challenge you to hasten the scourge, whereas hell has already encircled the unbelievers. 55. On that day the punishment shall cover them from above and from beneath their feet, and Allah will say, now taste the reward of your deeds. 56. O my servants who have believed, surely my earth is spacious to migrate if needed. Therefore worship me and me alone. Now this verse is inciting the Muslims towards hijrah, that if you feel that it is becoming difficult to worship Allah in Makkah, you may leave it and move to another place where you can live as true servants of Allah. 57. Every soul shall taste death, then to us you shall all return. The message in the verse is that do not be anxious for your life. One has to die sooner or later. 58. Those who embrace true faith and do good deeds shall be lodged in the mansions of paradise, beneath which rivers flow, to live therein forever. What an excellent reward for the doers of good deeds. 59. The ones who have shown patience and put their trust in their Rabb. Now the people who make it to Jannah have these two qualities, patience and tawakkul. Patience is what we call sabr, and tawakkul is your trust in Allah. 60. How many creatures are there that do not carry their provisions with them? Allah provides for them as He provides for you, and He is all hearing, all knowing. Now the verse means that while migrating, do not worry for your sustenance. Allah will make arrangements for your rizq, just as He has made it for all His creatures who do not carry it with them. 61. If you ask the disbelievers as to who has created the heavens and the earth and subjected the sun and the moon to His laws, they will certainly say, Allah. How are they being deluded away from the truth? This means that when the non-believers know that Allah is the creator and master of everything, and they admit this fact with their own mouth, then how are they so confused about Allah? 62. Allah gives abundantly to whom He pleases and sparingly to whom He wills. Surely Allah has knowledge of all things. 63. And if you ask them who sends down rainwater from the sky and thereby raises the dead land back to life, they will certainly say, Allah. Say, praise be to Allah, yet most of them do not use their common sense. 64. The life of this world is nothing but a pastime and play. It is the life of the hereafter that is the real life, if they but knew it. Now the message is that this short time that we are granted in dunya should not be spent carelessly in mere amusement, but utilized to gain the akhirah. 65. If they embark on a ship and the ships get into trouble, they call upon Allah, being sincerely obedient to Him, but when He brings them safely to land, they start committing shirk. This means that in calamities, the non-believers unconsciously invoke Allah for help, but once they are out of it, they forget all about it. 66. So that they may become ungrateful for the blessings that we have bestowed on them and enjoy the life of this world. They will soon come to know the result of this behavior. 67. Do they not see that we have made for them secure sanctuary in the Kaaba, while the people are being snatched away from all around them? Do they still believe in falsehood and deny the blessings of Allah? 68. And who is more wicked than the one who forges a lie against Allah or rejects the truth when it reaches him? Is not the hell a fitting abode for such disbelievers? 69. As for those who strive in our cause, we will surely guide them to our ways. Surely Allah is with the righteous. Now the word jihad is from juhad, and juhad means struggle. Which struggle? The struggle to overcome any obstacle in obeying Allah. Allah says that to such people I will show them the way and remove the obstacles of their path. Surah Rum. Now the background of this surah is that the last verses of Surah Ankabut, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the good news to those who would strive and struggle in His way. It was promised for such people that he would open the doors towards him and they would succeed in their objectives. The story that marks the beginning of Surah Rum is a manifestation of that very divine help. Now, the war which is referred to in this surah was fought between the Romans and the Persians, who were both disbelievers and had nothing to do with the Muslims. The people of Persia were, as you know, they were fire worshippers, while those of Rome were Christians, and they were also the people of the book. So naturally, the people of Rome were relatively closer to the Muslims. Many of their beliefs, such as faith in the hereafter, the prophethood, and revelations, these things were common between them. And we find that Prophet ﷺ made use of this part of their belief in his letter when he wrote to the king of Rome, inviting him to accept Islam. While Prophet ﷺ was still living in Makkah, this war was fought in Syria. This was a place near Basra, and the pagans of Makkah aspired for the victory of the Persians in this war because the Persians believed in kufr. They were fire worshippers, but the Muslims wished the success of the Christians as they were closer to Islam in their belief. But the Persians defeated the Christians and conquered the land, and they built a temple there for fire worshipping. Now, this victory was the last for their king, who was named Khusro Parvez. After that, his decline set in, and ultimately he was removed by the Muslims. At the defeat of Christians, the non-believers of Makkah rejoiced and taunted the Muslims that their favorites had lost. They also claimed that just as the Persian Kafirs defeated the Roman Christians, the same way the non-believers of Makkah would beat down the Muslims. And this claim of theirs hurt the Muslims to some extent. And the opening verses of this surah relates to this incident, in which it is predicted that Rome will overcome the Persians again in a few years of time. And when Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq Raziallahu Ta'ala Anhu learned about these verses, he went to the non-believers in the marketplace and the suburbs of Makkah as well, and announced that there was no occasion for them to be happy, as after a few years the Christians would overcome the Persians again. Hearing this, Ubay ibn Khalaf challenged him and said that it could not be so and that he was only telling a lie. And Hazrat Abu Bakr Raziallahu Ta'ala Anhu said that, "O enemy of Allah, you are a liar. I am willing to bet on this issue that in case the Christians would not overcome the Persians, in 3 years' time I will give 10 camels, and if they did overcome, then you will have to give me 10 camels. At this time, gambling was not made unlawful. And after saying what he said, Hazrat Abu Bakr Raziallahu Ta'ala Anhu went to Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and he narrated the whole episode to him. On that, Prophet ﷺ said to him that he did not fix the time of 3 years, because Quran has used the word which means a few years, under which the time limit could be anything between 3 to 9 years. So Prophet ﷺ said that you shouldn't have said 3 years. Therefore, he asked Hazrat Abu Bakr Raziallahu Ta'ala Anhu to go back to the person with whom he had made the bet and ask him that he would bet for 100 camels instead of 10, but the time limit would be 9 years now. Hazrat Abu Bakr Raziallahu Ta'ala Anhu followed the instruction of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and Ubay ibn Khalaf also agreed on the term of the new bet. After the passage of exactly 7 years, at the time of the Battle of Badr, the Romans defeated Persians, and by that time Ubay ibn Khalaf had died. So Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq demanded 100 camels from his heirs according to the terms of the bet, to which they complied and handed over the agreed number of camels. When Hazrat Abu Bakr won the bet according to the agreement and got hold of 100 camels, he took them to Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and asked him to give them in charity. Verse 1, Alif Lam Mim. Verse 2, the Romans have been defeated. Verse 3, in the neighboring land, but after this defeat, they will soon be victorious. Verse 4, within a few years, the command lies with Allah in the past instance as well as in the future. On that day, The believers will rejoice, verse 5, for the victory of the Romans, as well as their own victory against the pagans with the help of Allah. He helps whom He pleases, and He is the Almighty, the most merciful. 6. This is the promise of Allah, and Allah will never break His promise, but most people do not know. 7. They only know the outward show of this world's life, but they are heedless about the life to come. 8. How they not considered in their own minds that Allah created the heaven and the earth and all that lies between them for a just reason and for a specified time, but the truth is that many among mankind do not believe in the meeting with their Rabb. 9. Have they not travelled through the earth and seen what was the end of those before them? They were superior in strength. Then they tilled the soil and populated it more than these pagans have done. There came to them their Rasuls with clear signs. It was not Allah who wronged them, but they wronged their own souls. 10. Evil was the outcome for those who committed evil, rejected the revelations of Allah, and kept ridiculing. 11. It is Allah who originates creation, then repeats it, and then to Him you shall be brought back. 12. On the day when the hour of judgment will be established, the criminals shall be in despair. 13. None of their shuraka will be there to intercede for them, and they themselves will disown their shuraka. 14. On that day, when the hour of judgment will be established, mankind will be sorted out. 15. Those who have embraced the faith and have done good deeds shall be made happy in a garden of paradise. 16. And those who have rejected faith, denied our revelations and the meeting of the hereafter, shall be presented for punishment. 17. Therefore, glorify Allah in the evening and in the morning. 18. All praise is due to Him in the heavens and the earth, so glorify Him in the late afternoon and when the day begins to decline. 19. He brings out the living from the dead and the dead from the living and gives life to the earth after its death. Likewise, you shall be brought forth to a life after your death. 20. Of His signs, one is that He created you from dust, and then behold, you men scattered. 21. And of His signs, another one is that He created for you mates from among yourselves, that you may find comfort with them, and He planted love and kindness in your hearts. Surely there are signs in this for those who think about it. 22. And yet other of His signs are the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the difference of your languages and colors. Surely there are signs in this for the knowledgeable. This means that although your vocal cords are similar, there is no difference in the structure of the mouth, the tongue, the brain, yet people speak different languages in different regions of the world. And that if one looks around, one will notice an infinitive variety everywhere in the world. One will find countless differences in the species of man, animal, and plants, and despite the basic uniformity in the different members, no member of the species is exactly identical with the other. Even the two leaves of a tree are not exactly alike. This shows that the world is not a factory in which automatic machines might be working and turning out things in mass production, bearing the stamp of their own separate species. But in this factory, there is a master artist at work who gives individual attention to everything and produces it on a new design with new qualities, and every creation is unique in itself. 23. And among His signs is your sleep at night and quest for His bounty during the day. Surely there are signs in this for those who pay heed. Now another of Allah's power is mentioned, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not just created man, but has made arrangements for his comfort. Allah knew that this creature could not work endlessly. He needs rest and sleep to recoup energy. That is why Allah created the phenomena of sleep. Even if one does not want to give a break to his work, he is overpowered with fatigue and sleep, and he is compulsively pushed to rest. And this sleep freshens him up, and he is ready to work and look for Allah's bounty the next day. 24. And of his signs is the showing of lightning, in which there is fear as well as hope, and he sends down rainwater from the sky, and with it gives life to the earth after its death. Surely there are signs in this for those who use their common sense. Here another of Allah's signs is mentioned, that is lightning. The verse says that it gives hope and fear. What is the hope? That rain will come and help the crops, and fear that the lightning may strike somewhere or heavy rain may fall, which may wash away everything. 25. And of his signs are the firmly standing heaven and earth by his command. Then as soon as he will summon you out of the earth, you shall come forth at one call. 26. To him belongs everything that is in the heavens and in the earth. All are obedient to him. 27. He is the one who originates creation, then repeats it, and it is easy for him. To him belongs the highest similitude in the heavens and the earth, and he is the Almighty, the All-Wise. 28. We give you an example from your own lives. Do you let your slaves be equal partners in the wealth which we have given you? Do you fear them as you fear each other? Thus do we spell out our revelations for those who use their common sense. Verse 29. Nay, the wrongdoers are led by their own desires without real knowledge. So who can guide those whom Allah leaves astray? They will have no helpers. Now the verse means that the actual reason for the deviation of these people are two. Number one, they lack knowledge. And number two, they are a slave of their desires. 30. Therefore, stand firm in your devotion to the upright faith, the nature made by Allah, the one on which mankind is created, and the laws of nature ordained by Allah cannot be changed. That is the standard of true faith, but most among mankind do not know. Now the verse means that in order to show man the right path, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made arrangements which fall basically into two forms. One is that Allah has put in the nature, in the essence, in the core of man, that is called fitra, that Allah is his creator. And secondly, he has put numerous signs in the universe that point towards Allah. At the same time, Allah has given faculties to perceive the truth. Those people who respond to this inward call and perceive the truth using the faculties given to him get to know Allah and submit to him. And those who do not, they keep wandering all their lives. 31. Turn in repentance to him, fear him, establish salah, and do not be of the mushrikeen. 32. Those who divide their religion into sects and become separate groups, each group rejoicing in its own circle. 33. When an affliction befalls the people, they turn in prayer to their Rabb in repentance. But when he let them taste a blessing from him, lo, some of them start committing shirk. Now this means that those people who turn to Allah only when they are in a problem and not otherwise. And as soon as they are out of the problem, they start taking the credit themselves or give it to someone else. For example, my business flourished because I worked so hard. I was cured of this disease because of that doctor, or because I secured the door so properly, that's why the burglars couldn't get in. Or I was saved from this accident because I managed to apply the brakes in time. Verse 34, showing ingratitude for what we have given them. Enjoy yourselves, soon you will find out your folly. 35, have we sent down to them an authority that speaks of the shirk which they are committing. Now this means that what authority have they got to say that the calamities are not averted by Allah? but by the so-called saint. Does common sense approve of it, or is there any divine book which says that Allah has delegated his powers to such and such saint and that they should be invoked by the people to help them out of difficulties? Verse 36, when we give mankind a taste of blessing, they rejoice, but when some evil afflicts them because of their own misdeeds, lo, they are in despair. The verse means that when people taste prosperity, they rejoice and they get drunk in it. And when they suffer a loss, they go into depression. But these two reactions are not a moment's reactions. When a moment reaches prosperity and success, he does not feel pride in it, nor credit himself, and neither does he go out of his mind with joy. And when he suffers a loss, even then he does not go out of mind like shouting or complaining. He is composed even then. Both his reactions are very moderate and composed. 37. Do they not see that it is Allah who gives abundantly to whom He pleases and sparingly to whom He wills? Surely there are signs in this example for those who believe. Now, what sign is this? That the believers can learn how disbelief and shirk can affect the morals of a man, and what impact does belief in Allah have on his morals. The person who sincerely believes in Allah looks up to Him as the master of the treasure house of rizq. If he is given abundantly, he will never be puffed up, nor will he be mean. Rather, he will be grateful to Allah and treat his fellow men with kindness and generosity, and will spend in the way of Allah. On the other hand, if he is given less, he will exercise patience, and he will never gamble away his honesty and self-respect, but will have hope for Allah's bounty till the last day. This sort of moral excellence cannot be exercised by an atheist. 38. O believers, give what is due to your relatives, the needy, the traveler in need. That is best for those who seek the pleasure of Allah, and it is they who will attain felicity. 39. That usury which you give to increase the wealth of people does not increase with Allah, but the zakat that you give to seek the pleasure of Allah shall be repaid to you many times over. Now here usury is condemned and zakat has been encouraged. 40. It is Allah who has created you, then provides you your sustenance, and then causes you to die, and then He will bring you back to life. Is there any of your shuraka who can do any of these things? Glory be to Him, and exalted be He above the shirk these people commit. 41. Mischief has appeared in the land and the sea in consequence of man's own misdeeds. Allah makes people taste the fruit of their deeds so that they may turn back from evil. Now, what mischief is this? For example, atomic weapons are being created, which are being improved day by day. The resources which should have been used for the benefit of man are used for harming him. And according to an estimate, if only the atomic resources of one country are estimated, then they are enough to destroy the whole world. This can cause harmful atomic radiations around the earth, and then life cannot exist. And whatever is already made is enough to finish life on earth. Then there is so much pollution, and due to which carbon dioxide is being reduced, which absorbs the harmful elements of pollution. Holes have developed in the ozone layer, and because of that, harmful rays are reaching the earth, and then because of this heat, the glaciers are melting, due to which the level of seawater can rise up to 1 meter, which is enough to finish many human dwellings. Now, Allah didn't do all this. He gave a beautiful and a clean and a healthy earth to man to live on, but man created mischief on it and spoiled it, and this is called fasad. 42. O Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, tell them, travel through the earth and see what was the end of those who have passed away before you. Most of them were mushrikeen. 43. Therefore stand firm in your devotion to the true faith before that day arrives on which there will be no chance of averting from Allah. On that day they shall be divided into two groups. Which groups? One group going to Jannah and the other going to hell. 44. Those who disbelieved will bear the burden of their disbelief, and those who have done good deeds will be made ready for their home in paradise. 45. So that he may out of his mercy reward those who have believed and done good deeds. Surely he does not like the disbelievers. 46. Of his signs is that he sends the winds as bearers of good news, giving you taste of his blessing, and your ships may sail by his command, and that you may seek of his bounty, and that you may be grateful. 47. We sent before you Rasuls to their respective people, and they brought them clear signs. Then we subjected the guilty ones to our retribution, and we aided the believers. It is due on us to help the believers. 48. It is Allah who sends the winds to raise the clouds, then he spreads them in the sky and breaks them into fragments as he pleases. Then you see raindrops falling from their midst. When he showers this rain upon those of his servants whom he pleases, lo, they are filled with joy. 49. Though before its coming they may have lost all hope. 50. Just look at the traces of Allah's mercy, how he gives life to the earth after its death. Surely the same way he will give life to the dead, for he has power over all things. 51. And if we send a wind which turns their crops yellow, behold, they will become even more firm in their disbelief. Now the verse says that the people who used to rejoice with the coming of rain, if they are struck by a disaster like the harsh winds which destroy the crops, then they start grumbling and complaining to Allah. 52. O Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you cannot make the dead hear you, nor can you make the deaf hear your call, especially when they have turned their backs and are running away. 53. Nor can you guide the blind out of their error. None will hear you save those who believe in our revelations and submit themselves as Muslims. Here Allah says that the people who run away from deen are like those people who are blind and they have stepped on the wrong track. A track which is full of hurdles in which they can bang into the hurdles any moment. You try to hold them and bring them back on the right track because you are concerned about them and you wish them well. But what do? They push you away and refuse to follow your instruction. Now, what will become of such people? What can you do for them? 54. It is Allah who has created you in a state of helplessness as a baby, then gave you strength to come out of helplessness in youth, then after strength again helplessness and grey hair in old age. He creates whatever he wills, and it is he who is the all-knowing. This means that man may live in self-conceit and arrogance if he so likes, but he is so helpless in Allah's powerful grip that he cannot change the state of his own life even, in which Allah has placed him. 55. On the day when the hour of judgment will be established, the criminals will swear that they did not stay in this world more than an hour. Thus are they ever deluded. 56. But those who are given knowledge and faith will say, in fact, you have stayed according to the book of Allah till the day of resurrection, and this is the day of resurrection, but you were not aware. 57. On that day, no excuse of theirs will avail the wrongdoers, nor will they be allowed to seek forgiveness. Now these two verses show that along with Iman, knowledge of the Quran is a must for correct judgments. And people who have Iman and knowledge will know exactly what is going on that day. And then they will know that why aren't people being forgiven, how much they stayed in dunya, what is going to happen to them in the near future. They will have this information because they had kept a contact with the Quran. 58. The fact is that we have set forth every kind of example for men in this Quran, but whatever sign you may bring, the unbelievers are sure to say, are you preaching falsehood? This means that in whatever way you explain the truth of the message of Allah to the non-believers, they will still deny it because they are bent upon denial. Verse 59, thus Allah has set a seal on the hearts of those who do not use their common sense. If these people had used their common sense, they would have reached Allah somehow. But the problem with them is that they do not use the common sense. Verse 60, so, O Prophet ﷺ, have patience. Surely the promise of Allah is true, and do not let those who themselves have no certainty of faith shake your firmness. Surah Luqman, verse 1, Alif Lam Mim. Verse 2, these are the verses of the book of wisdom. 3, a guide and a blessing for the righteous. 4, who establish salah, give zakah, and firmly believe in the hereafter. 5, these are on the true guidance from their Rabb, and these are the ones who will attain felicity. Verse 6, among the people there are some who purchase useless tales so that they may lead people away from the way of Allah without any knowledge, and take the invitation to the right way as a mockery. For such people there will be a humiliating punishment. Now, in the previous verse, the traits of the successful people were discussed, and here the traits of the losers are being mentioned. And the first and the foremost one is that they waste time in idle talk. This talk is futile and carries no benefit, and lahw al-hadith means anything which makes one negligent of one must be doing. And this includes obscene literature, films, dramas, television programs, songs, useless speech. It also includes making fun of someone, mimicking, imitating someone. And there's a consensus of the leading commentators that lahwal hadith includes all kinds of music. 7. When our revelations are recited to such a person, he turns his face away in arrogance, as if he did not hear them, or as if his ears are sealed. Announce to him the news of the painful punishment. Now, because this person's heart is filled up with so much filth that there's no room for this nur to enter. His heart is so cramped with laghv and lahw al-hadith that not even a dot of iman is left there, because even if this much of iman was there, then how could he dare refute the word of Allah? And this is the result or effect of lahw al-hadith, which apparently seems to be harmless and innocent. 8. As for those who do good deeds, they will be gardens of delight. 9. Wherein they shall live forever, the promise of Allah is true. He is the Almighty, the Wise. 10. He created the heavens without visible pillars. He set mountains on the earth, lest it should shake with you, and scatter through it all kinds of animals. We send down rain from the sky, with which we grow every type of noble species in pairs. 11. This is Allah's creation. Now show me what is there that others besides him have created. In fact, the wrongdoers are in manifest error. 12. We gave wisdom to Luqman so that he may be grateful to Allah. The one who pays thanks does so for his own good, and the one who denies his favors should know that Allah is certainly free of all wants, worthy of all praise. Now, Luqman was a well-known and a wise, learned man in Arabia, and he has been mentioned in the poetry of the pre-Islamic poets. Some educated Arabs also possessed a collection of wise sayings of Luqman. According to traditions, 3 years before the Hijrah, the very first person of Medina to be influenced by Prophet ﷺ was Suaid bin Samit. He went to Makkah for Hajj, and there Prophet ﷺ was, as usual, preaching Islam to the pilgrims coming from different places at their residences. When Suaid heard his speech, he submitted, I have also got a thing similar to what you preach. When Prophet ﷺ asked what it was, he said, the role of Luqman. Then on that, Prophet ﷺ demanded, he read out a portion of it To which Prophet ﷺ said, "This discourse is fine, but that which I have is still better." Then he recited the Quran to him, and Suaid admitted that it was certainly better than the wisdom of Luqman. Allah had given him intelligence and wisdom, and Allah wants to tell the people of Makkah that what this prophet is preaching is nothing strange. These are the same things which all wise men of the past have said before, and you have reverence for those men in your heart, and you respect them very much. Verse 13, when Luqman, while advising his son, said to him, "O my son, do not ever commit shirk with Allah. Surely committing shirk is the worst injustice." Verse 14, we have enjoined man concerning his parents. His mother carries him in her womb with suffering, weakness upon weakness, and then weans him in 2 years. That's why we commanded him, "Give thanks to me and to your parents, and keep in mind that to me is your final goal." Now these two verses have been inserted in between the counsel given by Luqman by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning that this counsel is by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to explain the gravity of shirk. وآخر الدعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.